COVID craziness. Me, Ivo, I want to discuss this today, with the hope of gaining a nugget of sanity out of all of this. I see that people are gathering in Berlin and demanding the resignation of their entire government. Finally, someone is taking some action. The police, apparently, are on the side of the protesters and they won't arrest anyone. If they succeed, however, there's nothing to say that they won't just replace the current members with a whole new set of Kabbalists, maybe even worse ones. This is the thing that keeps spinning my head, everyone is complying. The answer is to stop complying. Everyone needs to take their masks off and go about their normal business and forget about what the government is telling them they have to do. However, as we all know, we've all been taught to do what authority has told us to do, starting with parents and then going on to school teachers and principals, then jobs and bosses. Some even treat their spouses like their authority and obey them as well. Yeah, there you go, to love, honor and obey the spouse, like it says in the wedding vows. The problem is the system is set up wrong. It's a control system. And so everyone is going around being controlled and putting up with it. They're doing what all victims do, complaining. But they're doing it. That's what the cabal wants, folks. They don't care if you like it, as a matter of fact they probably get a perverse pleasure out of your begrudging acceptance. I'm hearing now of 8-year-olds who won't be going to school because they have to wear a mask all day. But 7-year-olds from the same household don't have to. Then children have to bring overnight supplies to school in case an outbreak happens and they have to quarantine them. My neighbors decided to homeschool their children. I called a vet to take my cat in next week, and they said I'm not allowed in their office because of COVID. The only reason they're allowed to let anyone in who is bringing in their pet is if the pet is to be euthanized. One person is allowed to be with the pet. She told me first they were shut down, and then when they finally were allowed to open again, it was for some things but not others. All surgeries were put off and I think she said they still can't do them. So when I bring Merlin in, I have to provide a list of all the things I want checked. I'm not going to be able to go inside with him and listen to what the vet has to say or ask questions of him. He's allowed to just do whatever, I'm assuming, or they'll phone me to keep me up on what he says. I'm the one who has to take care of Merlin after I leave the vets. I'd like to know what's going on. And I'd like to minimize the cost of the appointment. Then she said we see these so-called leaders not wearing masks, standing too close to others, etc. etc. Breaking all the rules while we have to conform to rules that don't make sense. If everyone is wearing masks, then why can't I go into their office? I won't, but I should be able to if I comply with their rules. Something is going on and I believe that the rules are becoming so arbitrary because that's what they're trying to do, confuse us. I'd say it's working. It is so obvious that this so-called lethal virus, which clearly isn't as bad as they are declaring, is being used as an excuse to control. That is so clear and people are getting fed up of it. But they're not doing the right thing, they're still complying. Ivo, and this is correct, my love. People are angry and confused. They do not have the rules and the structure they had before and now they are made to guess or to find out what it is they must do to be compliant. So it has one positive purpose, people are becoming more involved in their day-to-day lives, they are researching what they need to do to comply and they are becoming upset that they do not have the structure they previously had. This has been lost. Again, I will state, my love, that the solution is not at the physical level. The solution is at the mind level. Create the world you want in your mind and it will trickle down to the physical world eventually. You wish to have a non-compliant community that is self-sufficient, and you will have that. It always starts with the mind. The deep state expects protests. They know how to deal with that. They simply ignore you. They expect you to protest. But they do not expect you to use your mind power to eliminate their influence from this planet. They believe they have you trained enough that you will not discover your influential powers to thwart their plans. And this is where you must work, at the higher levels in order to create a new reality. There are people splitting into two groups, there are people who will not be controlled, and there are others who will comply with it. It depends on your mindset, obviously. Me, yes, and remember George Soros unleashed Antifa and BLM groups on people because they were protesting, turning the protests into riots, so they are very good at taking whatever we throw at them and turning it to their advantage. Ivo, yes, they are. They are very cunning. Those who will not be controlled will seek to gather together and start new communities. Those who will be controlled will stay in cities such as Portland, Oregon. Me, oh, that's the other thing. The mayor of Portland just called on the people to take on the rioters who have been raising Portland. I know that Trump's federal forces are there, but why should the people take on the rioters? Ivo, this is not the only city that is in this type of chaotic state, my love. Trump must watch for any outbreaks and then either force the state governor to take action, or do it himself. Me, yes. Antifa and BLM rioters need to be rounded up and arrested. So this is an ongoing thing. The more they round up, the more Soros can hire. I should think people should be getting pretty fed up of this by now. I know I am. Ivo, it will not go back to what it was. Intervention will be put in place in order to allow for growth beyond the system that you were in, which was already flawed and not meeting the true needs of its people. Your people do not understand your true needs, that is why we are intervening. Me, cool. Thanks Ivo. Ivo, you are welcome, my love.